But before we talk about any of our live trials or the major cases that we're covering, you know that there is so much else happening in the news today. So here's a special report about what else is trending across the country right now.
Here are today's top crime stories trending on Law&Crime.com and across the country. A woman in Arkansas is under arrest after posing as a deputy to help her boyfriend escape a California jail. 30-year-old Maxine Feldstein is accused of impersonating a deputy with the Ventura County Sheriff's Office and using a forged document to assist in freeing her boyfriend, Nicholas Lowe, from Washington County Jail. The couple was arrested a few days later once authorities realized they were duped. Feldstein faces charges of forgery, accomplice to third-degree escape, and criminal impersonation. Lowe now faces a second-degree escape charge. The man who investigators believe is the Golden State Killer is slated to face trial in Sacramento County. 72-year-old Joseph James D'Angelo is now linked to at least a dozen murders and more than 50 rapes across California in the 1970s and 80s. The former police officer was arrested in April after investigators were able to link his DNA from a genealogical website to crimes tied to the elusive Golden State Killer. D'Angelo remains in Sacramento County Jail and now faces 13 counts of first-degree murder. Authorities in Colorado believe Christopher Watts, the man accused of killing his pregnant wife and 2 daughters, murdered his children before his pregnant wife returned home from a business trip. Watts is accused of killing his wife Shannon and his 2 daughters, 4-year-old Bella and 3-year-old Celeste. Before Watts was arrested, he begged the public for help finding his family.
I just want them back. I just want them to come back, and if they're not safe right now, that's what's tearing me apart. Because if they are safe, they're coming back. But if they're not, this has got to stop. Like, somebody has to come forward.
Authorities believe Watts killed his family in the family home and later dumped the bodies on property owned by Anadarko Petroleum, where Watts worked. Watts now faces 5 counts of first-degree murder and 4 other felony charges. Those were today's top crime stories. I'm Anthony Velez for Law and Crime.
Great reporting as always, Anthony. You can go to lawandcrime.com to learn a little bit more of the top trending stories, but we got to talk about the Christopher Watts case, constantly in the news. And how bizarre was that interview? I want to bring in our very special guest. I wish she was here in the studio, but we'll take her any which way we can get her. So via Skype, Law and Crime trial analyst Julie Rendelman. Julie, great to see you.
Great to see you. I'm happy I'm not there, but
well, it looks like you're outside and enjoying. But I want to talk about the Christopher Watts case. If this goes to trial, how on earth is a jury realistically supposed to believe his story when we just saw him on tape being interviewed and saying, you know, hey, I mean, if my family's, I hope they're okay. You know, if they're not there, I don't know what happened to them. And then 5 minutes later, he confesses to killing them. How can they realistically believe anything he has to say?
They're not going to believe anything he says. And quite frankly, it reminds me of, and I'm sure it reminds many of, the Susan Smith case where she had gone on television, blamed others. I believe she blamed African-American individuals for taking her kids, and it turned out she had dumped them into a lake. So I don't think anyone is ever going to believe anything he says. And quite frankly, the thing that terrifies me the most is how convincing he sounded when he was talking about missing his children and his wife and hoping to get them back. It's just completely, it's mind-blowing that someone could do something like that.
And is he still sticking with the defense, hey, my wife was trying to kill the kids and I just killed her in retaliation for that?
I hope he gets off of that, because I don't think you can insult the intelligence of a jury more than to try to get them to believe that he walked in on something like that. It's absolutely nonsensical. And quite frankly, if it was true, why on earth would he try to get rid of the bodies of everybody? He would have immediately called the police and told them what happened and why he had to kill his wife. It makes no sense because it's not true, and it's just it's so despicable that that's the road he would take.
Now, he's been charged with 9 felonies. We have to say allegedly he did this. If allegedly he did this, why would someone do this? I always can't wrap my head around somebody who's been leading a normal life and then just resorts to this. Can you explain this for our viewers?
Jesse, how would I ever explain this to anybody? I mean, look, there's information that he had a girlfriend, so we know that, or at least that's what alleged to exist. I don't know if he didn't want another child because obviously she was pregnant, I don't know if he snapped. Who knows what happens when someone takes the lives. It's one thing to take the life of an adult, but to take the life of two innocent, completely helpless children and a wife who's pregnant, I don't know that anyone will ever be able to explain. But quite frankly, I think that maybe there will be some type of mental disease or defect that goes into the defense. Time will tell.
Julie, one last question about this. We believe that the prosecutors may press forward with a death penalty charge. If that's the case and he is convicted, what is the likelihood in this kind of scenario that he could realistically face the death penalty?
I mean, the thing that's strange about this case versus many others is that he really did seem, from everyone, to live a law-abiding life until this time, and seemed to be a decent guy. And so one wonders if there's something the defense would be able to do to convince the jury that this was kind of a break from reality for him, and therefore he does not deserve the death penalty. We don't know what family and friends are going to say afterwards. Obviously, we have a we have a grieving family on the side of the victim, and I'm sure they're going to have a lot to say about wanting him to receive the death penalty.
Yeah. Well, we are going to cover more of this here on Law and Crime. So, Julie, thank you very much for your perspective.